couple of years ago, my wife and I went to the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., and one fun thing that they have there is they have the Hall of Weights and Measures, and they have different scales that are calibrated to show you what you would weigh on different planets in the solar system. So there's like Jupiter, which is huge, has a lot of gravity. You stand on it, there's a massive number, and you're like, oh my God, imagine if I weighed as much as a truck. And then they've got the moon, which is a tiny little celestial body. So you stand on that one, it's a wee little number, and you're like, I'm just a feather, you know? And then they have Earth. And I don't know why you're laughing. So I stood on Earth, and the number was fucking huge. And I was like, what? And I summoned to my wife. I was like, honey, look at this. I was like, this is crazy. In the Hall of Weights and Measures, the Earth scale is broken. And she was like, no, I think that might really be exactly what you weigh. And I was like, oh, we'll see. So we went home, and I took out a scale that I hadn't seen in years, dusted it off, and stood on it. Same number. Now, what had happened is I had become fat. I had become medically fat. And there had been warning signs, you know, like you ever take off your pants at the end of the day and have you like a red band around your waist? That wasn't the sign. What would happen is I would take off the pants, see the red band, and then go to sleep for 8 hours, wake up the next day, red band's still there, okay? So, like, it was getting hard to do shoes and stuff. I mean, I knew there was a problem. Also, all my pants were so fucking tight. They were, like, tight to the point of pain, but if I bent over, they would pop off my ass and fall down to the floor. So, like, restrictively, unbelievably painted on tight, bend over, pop, and then just a denim bed sheet on the ground. So I was like, shit, I gotta do something. So, I started to lose weight, and the way I did it was I just ate less. I wish that I could tell you I went on a retreat or did tapes or used a lozenge. None of that stuff is real. You just have to fucking eat less. And I thought exercise had something to do with it. Exercise has nothing to do with it. Once you get to a certain age, it's just fucking exercise all the time. I still exercised when I was fat. Didn't fucking matter if you eat buckets of garbage each day. So I just started eating less, and it was really, really awful. And particularly at night. At night, my stomach would start to growl, and it'd be like, I'm gonna eat something. Something's going in here. And so what it would do is when I was asleep, it would start to suck dreams and memories out of my mind and my soul and just digest and destroy them. So sleep time just became fucking awful. I had horrible nightmares. I hated going to sleep every night. I remember one of the worst nightmares that I had was I was just walking down the street somewhere, and all of a sudden a guy pulled up in a van, and he jumped out and took out a gun and held it up to my head and said, if you can't make 15 people in this neighborhood let you be their dentist, I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out. And I was like, oh my God. And it was like so realistic. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm running up to people being like, let me be your dentist. And I'm not doing any soft sell stuff like you're supposed to do to like get new business. Like normally you'd be like, hey, nice choppers you got there. Yeah, well, I'm new in town, and it turns out I dent, and I was wondering if maybe none of that shit. Just let me be your dentist. So people are like, God, no. And then I was like, you know what? I think what it is I'm too big and scary. I need to pretend to be a little girl. So I don't even in my dream I have no magic power. So I just get on my knees and start to speak in a high voice and be like, let me be your dentist. And then people are like, definitely not now. I'd rather have the big, what the fuck, you know? So then the guy is coming for me. He's got the gun. He's pointing at his watch, and I'm fucking shitting. So I go up to people's windows who haven't seen me yet, and I'm going like, let me be your dentist. And so he's coming, he's like cocking the gun. And so in the climax of the dream, in the cutest little voice I can possibly do, I scream, let me be your dentist. But then I also do it in real life, in my bed with my human wife on Earth. And so she's like, what's the matter? And I was like, I'm fucking hungry! So awful. There's a weird thing that they do in America. One weird thing that they do. And every year, the President of the United States has a physical, and then they release the data for some reason. So every year, on one day, they just tell you the height and weight of the president. Don't know why they do it. When they did it with Obama, I was like, don't care. Now they do it with Trump, I'm like, double don't care. And I remember about a year ago, they released the data, and he said that he was 6'3" and weighed 237 pounds, okay? Now, when people heard that, they were like, excuse me? Like, people were like, that's impossible. It's impossible that he only weighs 237 pounds. Like, if you look at his dimensions and stuff. But there was all like think pieces and stuff. People were like, I don't know, maybe if you strain so hard to not say the N-word all day, every day, your body fills with like a racist gas that lifts you up and makes you lighter. Maybe that's what happened. However, on that day, however, in my weight loss journey, I was 6'3", and it so happened I weighed exactly 237 pounds. So I knew he was lying. So I was livid. I was like naked, standing in the mirror, screaming, being like, the president's a liar! Whenever Trump comes on television, I just turn it off, because I love myself. I don't want to hear that shit. But I was thinking it'd be kind of funny if I was somewhere where I couldn't turn the TV off, like if I'm at a laundromat or an airport. And like, what if we were all somewhere where we couldn't turn it off and we had to see what he had to say? So he comes on and we're like, all right. And then he starts to blather and you're like, But then like something happens behind his eyes. So we all kind of lean in and then he's like, and then you're like, oh my God, is he having a fatal cerebral aneurysm? And I was thinking, how lovely would that be for us to just all together watch him die to death and be dead? How great would that be? Then like Eric and Don Jr. run out and they're trying to do CPR, but they've never studied it. They don't give a shit about anyone, so they don't know how to do it. But any excuse to touch him because he hasn't hugged them in 30 years. So they're just like, ah! But it doesn't work. His skin is getting grayer and his eyes are getting cloudier because he's fucking dead. I want that for us. I do. I want that.